Hello, welcome back to Event Advice with CrowdComms. Yet again, I'm here with Matt, and today we're going to be going through why you should invest in an event app. So, again, we like to jump straight into these things. So let's jump straight in it. No time wasting. Matt, why should a planner or an organizer actually invest in an event app?
Well, if you don't, then we're not going to be able to pay the bills, which would be devastating. I'm not controversial, but I'll always say to people, there's no point in doing something if you can't justify why you're doing it. So there are definitely events that take place that don't need an event app. I'll always look at how you're organizing that event for your delegates. How are you going to be sharing information with them so that it's relevant and it's right there and accessible to them? How are you going to be able to change information and communicate changes? How are you going to be capturing that information so that they can see what they're watching, what they're attending? If you are struggling with answering those questions, then you would benefit from an event app. There is an expectation of quality now with an event. So people expect an event app. So if you don't get it, then there is potentially you're starting off on a negative with an audience, with a delegate. So I think if it's going to make life easier for the organizer to communicate a schedule, to drive engagement, to encourage networking if that's pertinent to you for that particular event, then there is definitely value in investing in an event app. And let's be honest, they're very cost effective as tools now, because just like us, we've built CMSs where you can build an event app in a day rather than having to build from scratch as people were doing 10, 12 years ago. So there's huge efficiency now in terms of the costing.
So, as an organizer, if I was a bit wary about actually, apportioning part of my budget to an event app, but I was a bit worried about learning a new piece of software. It's quite an intimidating thing to actually get going. What things do we have in place that can help people transition from running events without an event app to actually running one with one?
Organizers work off spreadsheets. So an event app, the content works off spreadsheets. So in terms of the learning curve, we're branding something and then we're uploading those spreadsheets. So it's not a huge learning curve. They're doing a lot of the hard work anyway. We just want to present it in a way that's more digestible for the end user. So I think that's the first thing. They're doing the hard work anyway. We're presenting it in a way that looks better, provides better accessibility, provides better networking and engagement around that content that they are generating. In terms of helping them, onboarding, great support, training, there's an element of hand holding in the first few projects that you work with when you're using a new piece of technology. And then the big thing is the work that you are absolutely responsible for, and that's making sure that the user experience at the CMS, which is where we are building these tools, is really user friendly and it makes sense, and you land on it and you can build something that is extraordinary, but you build it in a matter of hours. Create those wow moments without spending days and days and days and weeks slaving over it.
Yeah, it's definitely the bit that we've concentrated on from a product point of view is quite often the user experience in enterprise software can all be focused on the app at the end of it. And actually, you see a lot of admins, CMSs and dashboards, which are really clunky and hard to use. We've put a lot of time and effort into making sure we use design patterns for our CMS, making sure that the learning curve once you start to use it is similar. You can do all of the wide ranging functionality that we've got in our product is similar. If you've done one thing, you can actually use that learning to move on to the next thing, and actually it's not unfamiliar, it's not hard to use, it's easy. The barrier to entry is nice and low.
Do you know the I've got a figure that I think demonstrates the validation of making that investment. Over 50% of our inquiries that turn into new business come from delegates that have attended an event and used it as a piece of technology.
Great.
So 2 of the meetings I've been on today were from people who have attended an event, said, I love this as a user and I want it for the users of my event. That validates it. That's how businesses grow. That's organic growth from end user kind of decision making.
What if you are a small team, and you think perhaps you're going to be a bit overwhelmed by using technology and offering an event up?
You've got support. So you've got people there to help you. There's different support packages available. Our platform's very intuitive, but if you haven't got time, you can say to one of our team, you project manager. And then we work with your team. We become an extension of your team. It's not just us, other companies do it, but you can get that support. I think we do it really well. But you can get that support to become part of your team to help you deliver that piece of technology beforehand, during, and after the event.
And I guess that is why the rise in all-in-one software has been so significant over the last couple of years, that people are looking, if they are going to run an event app, then they don't want to be doing it over multiple different platforms, do they?
Well, I think that's important from a user perspective. It's important from an admin perspective. It's also a point from a justifying the expense of a piece of technology. If I buy an app and with that app comes the kiosk software and the registration software, then I am ticking not just the box of making sure we've got engagement for the audience via that app tool. We're getting them a badge easily, quickly, and efficiently, and we're registering to the event without increasing the software cost. So again, that's critical. It's all in one place, doesn't increase cost, great for admins, great for end user. A win-win all round.
Super. And obviously we know the benefits of using an event app, but it does increase engagement. It does give you something to report on. It does give you, all of these tools are in place for you to know whether that investment, and it's not cost, it's investment, was worthwhile, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And we talked about using data before, but we were talking about validating the use of an event app. If I've got 10 sponsors and I charge each of those sponsors £300 to have a profile page and for delegates to be able to book meetings with them, I cover the cost of my technology. If when they turn up at the event, they go to one of our kiosks and each kiosk of the 4 is sponsored and it's £500, I've generated £2,000 of sponsor revenue for the kiosk software, so that I now have gone far beyond the cost of my technology. If I do the same at registration, I could potentially cover the cost of all of my technology and far more, a lot of my venue costs, purely by leveraging the technology.
Yeah. And obviously, if you're not using an event app, you're not really getting real-time data and analytics and things like that to actually prove that investment.
No, you're not getting it via that mechanism. You'd be getting it via a traditional mechanism, a survey, which, I'm not knocking that. But it certainly helps you to be able to say 100 people clicked on that document. There was value in it. 84 people engaged with that session. 10 people put 5 stars for that session. 4 people put 4 stars. Different session, everyone put 2 stars. Do we use that speaker again? Is that really driving quality if people are not getting value from it? So it's enabling us to make real-time decisions about the effectiveness of the event, not just validating that event, but driving behaviors and decisions for future events as well.
Lots of topics there. Hopefully that gives you some insight into why we think you should invest in an event app. We'll see you next time.